Greetings, mortals, and welcome. Please present your tickets for validation. Thank you. Your existence has been acknowledged, and you have been granted access every Thursday and Friday. You will be accompanying your guides, Krista and Brandy, along with a world-renowned guest. They will be exploring an intriguing tendril of what humans refer to as reality each week, as they strive to advance you further down the path to the truths of your physical earth and what lies on the other side. Remember to please keep your hands and feet in the vehicle at all times, and do not exit until the craft has come to a complete stop.
Hey, welcome. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
How are you tonight, Brandy?
This week is just entirely too long. I'm just saying, it's just entirely too long. I don't know.
I'm with you.
It's always the week after the a holiday, and then the week during the holiday. It just seems forever. It just needs to get over with.
I agree. Wholeheartedly agree. Yeah. I'm not going to waste any time tonight. I'm going to go ahead and bring up our guest, Ron Murphy. And
he doesn't have a lot of time with us tonight. He's got some family things that he needs to take care of. So we're going to just go ahead and get started.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on, Ron.
Oh, you know what? I would never, ever cancel on you folks. I apologize that I have a limited time tonight, but there's no other place I would rather spend my Thursday with talking about the paranormal and with two hot chicks. What more could I ask for?
Well, thank you.
Well, there you go. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Yeah, so we have you actually. You are going to come to our conference. You are a speaker at our conference.
I cannot wait. I'm absolutely beside myself. I'm excited to see you folks again, but I'm also excited to really talk about this too, because I want to talk about fairies. You know, that's one of the things that I truly am enamored with in the field of the paranormal, and I write about them, but very rarely do I get a chance to talk about them. So this is going to be one of those very rare moments I get to talk about it. So if anybody out there listening wants to come and hear me talk about fairy lore and all this stuff, I would urge you to come on out.
Yep, it's going to be a good one. We've got a lot going on that weekend. So let me tell you.
Absolutely.
That we do.
Exactly. So if anybody is wanting tickets or anything like that, the link is posted at the top of our chat. So you can get right in there and get it. If you're not in chat or can't see chat, go to Eventbrite, go to Blondes and Booze, and look up Crossing Realms Conference, and you'll find it there.
Yep.
And I have it
also sharing it out. So
there you go. There you go. And like I said before, the ghost hunt is selling out quickly. So make sure that you get your tickets now.
Yeah, we do well on selling our events for our ghost hunts, but I got to tell you, tickets for this ghost hunt are selling faster than any event that we've done. Am I right, Brandy?
Pretty much. Yeah, because we have them. They're limited. You know, we have very few being able to come and experience this with everybody, and like I said, they're not lasting long. So don't wait. Don't wait.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. And Ron, you're gonna ghost hunt with us that Saturday evening, aren't you?
I am. I will be there with bells on, although I'll probably leave the bells in the car because that might scare away the ghosts. But I will be there. We'll put it that
Maybe
way.
the ghost can ring the bells.
There you go. There you go.
I'm not gonna lie. Right, Ron? The last time we were there, we had one of those front desk bells, and it was going off all night long. So ring your bells.
Yep, bring your bells.
It's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic.
Yep, for sure. So how have you been?
You know, I was listening to you folks talk a little bit before the show, and I feel probably pretty much the way everybody in America does. We are still kind of overcoming the bloat of Thanksgiving, and now Christmas is in full swing. And as a kid, I remember anxiously awaiting, and it felt like a year to get to Christmas time. Each day was almost a century until the 25th came around. But nowadays it just flies by because you are so fixated on buying the right things. I wish there wasn't so much commercialism into this time of year. I think as a kid we didn't realize, because to us it was all gifted by Santa Claus and nobody had to worry about anything. But nowadays, the illusion is kind of gone. But I try to still make it magical for my children. I still try to make, because the reason for Christmas being this time of the year is this almost impenetrable darkness is going to be coming to an end very soon. And after the 21st, we start getting a little bit more and more light. So right around Christmas time, we have the promise that things are going to come back to life again, right? And I think in and of itself, that's so magical and poetic. What's not to like about this particular type of the year, but this particular time of year? But yeah, I just feel bad that it all has to be charged cards and money. I really do feel bad about that.
Oh yeah, you and me both, and now, like getting grandkids, so it just keeps getting more and more expensive.
That's right. Yeah, I have my first grandchild. She's 4 years old. And but at 4 years old, that's okay because it's still kind of like toys. But all of my children are getting older. So it's like I have a 23-year-old, a 21-year-old, 18, 16, and 12. No, 13. Yeah. So they're all up there now. But the older they get, the more expensive things become as well too. It's not like you want an etch-a-sketch, even though they make those things anymore. Now they want video games that are like $150 and stuff. It's just so expensive.
Or even the shoes, like my 14-year-old, she's looking at $150 shoes. Like, really?
Yeah. Well, that's the reason why, and I tell the kids that this is the reason why Dad has not had a new pair of shoes for 2 years. And that's truly what happens, right? We sacrifice for our kids, and we get it done somehow. But that's actually it's child related tonight, which is the reason why I have to call this a bit short tonight, because again, Daddy has to work a lot. So now the things that I neglect because I'm working a lot of overtime now, I have to make up for in the evening.
Totally understand. But whenever you got to go, you just tell us. So,
no, I'll be good until 9:45 or 9:45 my time. So we got 45 minutes and we have a lot to cover. So I'm excited.
Yeah. So let's get to rolling.
Sure.
Well, we did survive. Weren't we supposed to be? Weren't the aliens supposed to land?
The alien invasion.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were supposed to be invaded, and that didn't happen. No. Although what happened was a clandestine invasion that involved some sort of, like invasion of the body snatcher type of thing. And maybe we are the aliens right now.
That's true.
We might have already infiltrated, and that's what's going on. We might already be the aliens.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a scary thought.
Yeah, could have took us when we were sleeping.
That's right. They have our pod bodies someplace out in the woods somewhere.
Yeah, that's a really scary thought.
It is a scary thought.
Yeah. So let's talk some UFOs. Let's talk some of that kind of stuff.
Sure.
If you don't mind, because if they want to, if people want to hear about the Fae, they can come to the conference, right?
That's right. And the Fae are intertwined with UFOs anyways, But I recently had a book published by Small Town Monsters called Lights in the Mist. And there's a whole chapter in there about UFOs because I was researching the Earthlight phenomenon. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times when these Earthlights are seen are in conjunction with a lot of UFO activity as well, too. And sometimes Earthlights are mistaken for extraterrestrial beings or craft or whatever. So I think this is appropriate that we start with aliens because I think we long to imagine that there's more out there than just us. I think it would be kind of lonely to think that this planet Earth is floating around in, an infinite oblivion with nobody else out there. Now, that would make us tremendously special if that was the case. But I think there's something sort of sad and forlorn about that as well. So I think that we all deep down inside think that there's somebody out there with an intelligence standing on their home planet, looking up into the sky, thinking the exact same thing that we're thinking. But what it comes down to now is the notion that these other intelligences are able now to visit our planet, and that's where people get into the whole idea of abductions and everything else that's going on. So it's whenever we talk about ufology, when we talk about extraterrestrials, it's a myriad of problems. It's just not one thing. It takes so many different things into consideration. So it's really difficult to decide where you start talking about such a topic.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, I was just saying, yeah, I can see that. It's hard to get a conversation going with some people.
Oh, it is. But people report, being abducted all the time. But I think a lot of that has to do with a feeling of inclusion. I notice that a lot in the Bigfoot community. People will become experiencers because then they now belong to this particular guild that very few people get to enter, and that is the world of the experiencer. And I'm not saying that not everybody who claims to be an experiencer is lying. I'm just saying that people that oftentimes are caught up in a lot of different types of trauma, and they project things that have happened to them in their past onto this canvas of alien abductions. I think it's a very easy thing to do, but I think there's a lot more people reporting that they're being abducted than actually are.
Really? I find that interesting. Then that actually, what's happening then?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the way we look at aliens, right? So they're the other. They come to us whenever we are at our weakest, are vulnerable, at night while we're in bed. And if you think about, life in general, that's whenever bad things do tend to happen. Or, you're out along a dirt road someplace and everything's dark and, bad things happen. I think that this is projection on the things that can actually happen, the nightmares that people are able to inflict upon other human beings. For instance, the Barney and Betty Hill case, we did a show with Small Town Monsters called UFOs Revisited. And, that case is very startling because Barney Hill was African-American and Betty was white, and they were both very involved in civil rights movements and everything. And the whole thing started out with seeing these lights on this back road in New Hampshire. And from that initial encounter of lights, it all of a sudden becomes that they were abducted and they were, they were being sexually examined and everything. But there's a part of me that thinks that what had happened was something that oftentimes happened in that particular period whenever you had a mixed race couple around. I think that they may have come in contact with some backwoods hillbillies, and they were treated very, very roughly. And as the process of trying to get through that trauma came about, that they were wanting not to accept what had happened to them, so they made it into the other coming and doing that to them, if that makes any sense. A lot of their revelations came through hypnosis, and I'm not saying that anything was actually implanted within their minds, but I think whenever you have hypnosis, you can say some trigger things that will lead the person that's under hypnosis to go down a path that they didn't originally intend.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. So, and also too, didn't they you got to think that's one of the most famous UFO abduction cases there is out there. And supposedly, Betty's dress is at the Smithsonian. I seen something where Ben Hansen went in there and he was able to actually examine it. Did you see? You guys know what I'm talking about? Yep. So I mean that could make sense too, because I feel like they've profited off of it too.
Sure, there was some profit going on. That's right. And the idea, though, too, of lights. I mean, lights are used in hypnosis, and lights are also used in psychology as well, too. The idea of gathering trauma that has been isolated within you and bringing it to the surface in order to deal with it is something that's really kind of popular right now. A lot of experimental techniques are going out there. But it's just my assumption, studying psychology and studying the way people process trauma, that what they were dealing with was a situation that was so traumatic and obviously had a sexual element to it as well, that was something that they did not want to admit that happened. So they made it seem as if something came from another world and committed that against them.
Yeah. Well, didn't you say something about, and now I'm trying to forgive my memory here. It sucks. But in that show that I watched with Ben Hansen, something about her stomach, like she was probed or something, supposedly she said. Right. But then there was some kind of like bodily fluids or something right in that area. Do you know what I'm talking about?
And that's what usually happens to the abductions as well, too. There's usually something that is like startlingly sexual with it, gathering some sort of evidence. And as Carl Sagan had pointed out, if an extraterrestrial civilization is able to master time and space in order to get to this planet, they would need to abduct one human being and gather all the DNA that they would need in order to research whatever they need. I mean, we're doing that even to this day, right? We have the human genome completely mapped out. So the idea that they would have to continually abduct people, that seemed a little strange. It always happens out in the middle of nowhere, these kind of things. But no, I think that whenever you get into the brass tacks of everything, that we are dealing with an issue that is remarkably earthbound and really has no rationale in the world of interstellar travel.
Yeah, I totally get that. Yeah, it does make sense when you really think about it, so who knows, who knows?
We can do test tube babies all the time right now. There's no reason why they have to implant embryos in a human donor or a human surrogate and then take that baby, 8 months later or whatever. There's just no need for that. If we are capable of doing these things and we have a difficult time getting to the moon, imagine what a species could do if they're able to, travel millions of light years. That's science and physics that we can't even comprehend.
Right. What do you think about, you mentioned the baby thing. Now I've heard of like women getting abducted who were pregnant. And then all of a sudden, it was documented by the doctors that they were pregnant, and then they get abducted and then their babies are gone. Like there's no trace, there's no miscarriage, there's nothing. What are your feelings about that?
I spoke to a woman who claimed to have abductions over multiple years, and she had to have a hysterectomy. And she said that the aliens came into her room and they were visibly upset that she had a hysterectomy because they could no longer use her. But I've spoken to many people that are convinced that they have been implanted with embryos and carry these hybrid human beings around. But I don't know what to say. I mean, spontaneous abortions do happen, but the idea that not having any evidence that there was a pregnancy there, that's a little difficult to explain away. Right. But again, I mean, there's a lot of people out there. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that even claim virgin births because they don't want to admit that they were with somebody else.
Wow. Yeah, it's a crazy world we live in, isn't it?
So that's the other good point, okay? So as much as I research the unexplained and the paranormal, I try to look at it through different lenses. And one of the lenses that I definitely use to examine this world is that of psychology, right? Because none of this exists in a vacuum. And if we talk about fairies, or we talk about Bigfoot, or even vampires and werewolves, they're archetypes. So their attributes remain the same throughout time and space. They change a little, they adapt a little, but for the most part, their attributes stay pretty clear and solid throughout the entire framework. But each culture, okay, each generation interprets these things in the way that they see fit. We now have sparkling vampires, right? They're not so dastardly. They're more, new age. They have this thrust upon them. They're moody because they don't want to be like this, right? So that's a huge step from Nosferatu. Sure.
Right.
But yeah, that's right. So, but whenever you look through psychology, it seems that the monsters that we make, whether they be vampires or werewolves or what have you, these monsters are there to take the place of us, because we are very reluctant to admit that human beings are able to commit such heinous crimes against other human beings. But the majority of the cases, whenever this monster is finally cornered with the villages with pitchforks in hand and the torches, once these monsters are cornered and they remove the mask, invariably it's a human being underneath that mask. It's always a Scooby-Doo moment, right? So I
You're right.
when
I'm just thinking that.
right. So we have to be kind to the monsters, because what we call vampires and all these things that we call that go bump in the night, we are throwing upon them our fears. We're not allowing them to basically present themselves to us. We're making these monsters out of sometimes nothing at all, or out of folklore or whatever. But they mean so much to us. I mean, we're talking about this in the 21st century. They mean so much to us that they continued with us from the very moment that we were, basically in Africa until now. And that means a lot. This longevity means a lot. And things that go bump in the night still exist. So that's the reason why we research. That's the reason why we talk about it. We have open discussions. And that's the reason we're here today.
Exactly. Wholeheartedly agree. Here is a quick question for you, and it's something that I was just going to bring up because you mentioned it. It says, Brandy Ronald, do you think Bigfoot is part of the Fae? But I was going to ask you where you said, like the Fae and the aliens, they kind of, coincide. I want to get your opinions on that as well.
They do. So absolutely. So for all the research that I've done on Bigfoot, and I would not be here today unless it was Bigfoot, because that was, that you really cut your teeth on that particular cryptid. He's like your gateway drug into the paranormal. And as a kid, I was fascinated. I was always in that flesh and blood camp that this was some sort of missing link, until you start really delving deep. And I've had things happen to me as well too. When we were out on Bigfoot investigations, and all of a sudden we hear some sort of music almost that sound like wind chimes, and then all of a sudden these lights appear. So I've been in situations that were so out of the ordinary that there's really no other way to explain them away. But you look at also some American Indian legends and folklores, up in the Pacific Northwest, there are some occasions wherever Bigfoot would, leave food, and you're not supposed to partake of food because that will take you away. Same type of connection with the fairy world as well too. And oftentimes Bigfoot acts as a psychopompus, as the conveyor of souls from this world into the other world. Same thing that fairies do as well. So I think that Bigfoot is a conduit between this world, this mundane world, the world of the vulgar, and that of the supernatural or preternatural, whatever you would like to call it. But absolutely, that's a great question. And I think that the more you look into the aspect of Bigfoot from a spiritual point of view, and especially if you look at it spread across the world, We have the idea, the archetypes of wild men all over the place. But in the East, in Eastern religions, the Yeti plays a very important part of being a spiritual creature. And likewise, in the majority of Native American legends and lore and mythology, Bigfoot absolutely is a spirit that that kind of straddles these two worlds. In a way, Bigfoot acts almost in the case of a shaman that is an intermediary between these worlds. And I think it makes perfect sense too. He looks very much like us. He acts very much like us. And the only thing that's not really making him human is because he lives in the woods and he's covered in hair. So in a way, he is the perfect personification of that in between humans and nature, right? He is that green man that they talk about in the British Isles during the Middle Ages. He is that intelligence which lives in the wilderness. And if that is not a great analogy and definition for an elemental, there's not much else that would do it.
True.
Yeah,
Very true.
Totally. I totally get that. Totally get that. How does like then Dogman play into that?
Right. So the Dogman, that is like one of the new kids on the block. Although I did write a book on Dogman several years ago, and we can trace the idea of humans shape-shifting into animals probably going back to 35,000 years. I mean, we see this in cave art, right? But the transformation of a human into an animal, again, was a very shamanic ritual. But also we have Anubis in the Egyptian culture as well. And again, the Dogman in that culture acts as a go-between our world and the other world. He resides over the dead. He resides over funerary practices and over what you must do in order to make sure that the body is able to attain an everlasting life. So the Dogman has been with us for quite some time. In a Native American traditions, of course, this idea of a anthropoidal dog is with us as well too. And what is startling is oftentimes the Dogman in Native American cultures is attached to funerary areas, like grave mounds and such. So we have that analogy between Anubis that goes back to the Old Kingdom period in Egypt, going back, maybe 7,000 years ago, with Native American customs that go back, maybe only a couple thousand years ago. So there's something going on here that the reason why these archetypes, again, I use that word, the reason why these archetypes and the attributes in which they portray, being caretakers of the dead, why is that seen in cultures around the world? And why is a Dogman responsible for that particular, job,
Right. And a lot of them, you hear about them being around like Indian burial mounds too.
Sure. Yeah, Linda Godfrey, she did a great work on that. Even today, I had spoken to somebody that worked in upstate New York, and they were talking about now that wasn't on two legs, but they were talking about a giant wolf that was said to be a ghostly guardian of this one indigenous graveyard up in upstate New York.
Wow. Brandy, I know you got something going on in your head there.
I'm just kind of taking it all in. I realize we don't have a whole lot of time with him, so I'm just trying to get all I can while he's here.
Right.
Talking about them around graveyards, do you think we could be misidentifying these things as it could be maybe a hellhound versus a Dogman?
Good question.
Excellent question. So if anybody wants to get my book and dive a little bit deeper in there, I have a whole chapter in my Dogman book on Black Shook, hellhounds, church grims, these very large dogs that are often associated with these kind of, burial places. And I think that absolutely that's what we're talking about, because what makes a Dogman it really, in my opinion, has nothing to do with it being on two legs. You know, it doesn't have anything to do with it like that. What makes a dog man or even a werewolf, you know, that is intelligence, right? The word were, W-E-R-E, from werewolf means man wolf. And the reason why it was a man wolf is because it does not just go by based instinct. It also has an intelligence to it as well. And that's what sets it apart. And when we talk about these Porch Grims and the Black Shook and hellhounds, they work within some sort of intelligence that's uncanny. It's from another world, right? We talk about the attacks in the churchyard back in the 1500s, whenever two of these large dogs enter two different churches about 15 miles apart on the same day and go down the pews looking for a particular person to attack and kill. They were working with some sort of intelligence. There was something going on there. And, you know, these are the kind of things that really like make me wonder as a researcher and as a historian as well, too, because these were well documented cases. You can go to these churches today and there's still a tourism around seeing the claw marks on one of the doors when one of these hellhounds was supposed to have scratched the door. You know, there was this terrible thunderstorm, and out of this electricity and everything, these two hellish dogs appear. It's a great story, but I included them in my Dogman book because they did indeed act with a human intelligence.
Yeah, totally makes sense. So do you feel like, you know, I like hellhounds, things like that. It says hell, you know, so I do believe there's some sort of demonic type entities. Do you believe that as well? Or?
I think so too. Yeah, I mean, we as human beings, we like to assign things to things are good or bad. And if they're pretty, they usually are good. And if they're ugly, you know, they're usually bad, like, you know, snakes and bats and all that stuff. So I think that we initially do that, but there is something sinister to these hellhound sightings because they enter into the world of the holy, right? They enter into the world of the purified, and they make a sacrilege out of it, right? By killing people in a church, there's really not much more that could be done in order to kind of soil that particular sacred area. So I think that you are very close to the truth in that these things are working maliciously, deliberately in confrontation with Christianity, which would be seen as the good. So they're the polar opposites of what was actually going on within that church itself.
Yeah. You know, that's interesting because when we started talking about that, our friend Terry is in chat and she actually saw a hellhound. She came on a show and talked about that. You remember that, Brandy?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Wasn't it by a Civil War? She was at a Civil War area, like a battlefield, perhaps, I think it was.
Something like that.
Wow, that's incredible. Did she describe it as a big hulking type of dog?
Yeah, that it was very, very black in color.
Yeah.
And that it did have glowing type eyes.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, and that, again, like we talked about, people are still witnessing these things. This is not like, you know, ancient history and nobody ever sees these things. Again, people are still witnessing these.
Yeah.
Now, you know, is there a big difference between a hellhound and, like, say, the shook? Because, I mean, I've read stories, the folklore on the shook, and they've done kind of like nice things, like they have been type of protectors in certain instances. Is there a difference, or is this just normal behavior, and they're both the same thing, or are these two different entities?
No, I think there's definitely a difference. They obviously will be two different entities because the church grim and the shook itself are creatures that you said they could be protectors, and the church grim almost solely is a protector. They exist within the churchyard as a ghostly benefactor to that particular area, so no evil does come on into the churchyard. So they're kind of like God's guard dog, you know, to keep out the forces of evil. So yeah, absolutely. So not only because it's a large black dog does that necessarily mean that it's demonic. It's the way that it acts that makes it such.
Sure. Yeah, Terry just said she saw 2 of them at an old battlefield in northern Missouri. We all saw them. There were 6 of them that saw them.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, and you'll meet Terry. She's actually running the ghost portion, the ghost hunt portion of the conference there. So yeah, you'll get to meet her.
I cannot wait. This is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, talk to her a little more about it. But yeah,
I know.
Yeah, it's creepy stuff. I'm just saying.
It is. Because I don't know if I were to see one, I wouldn't know. I mean, how would I distinguish between the two? That's what my major focus is, because I understand the mannerisms or what they're doing, but how do you? I mean, I guess I would look at it and wouldn't know.
I'd be trying to pet the puppy dog, right?
I'd be shook. Let's just put it that way. I'd be shook.
I think the circumstances, I think that you would have some sort of intuition. I think that you would know immediately if something like this is going to cause you harm. I think that we have a vestigial part in our bodies that reacts with this fight or fight response over things that we cannot possibly even recognize today, but we're confronted with it. It comes back to that, that side of our brain when we were still out in the woods trying to struggle for existence. So I think that it would all come to you, and I think that you would know quite instinctually whether it was something of good or bad.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, because we all have a little bit of that. I mean, we've been around people that were just like, you know what? There's something about you. Thank you, but you just stay over there. I'm okay. I'm okay. You just get that feeling about people, and everybody has that intuition.
You're right. That's right. Yeah. My ex-wife was like that, and I didn't admit to that intuition until like 13 years later.
Well, the other thing that I was going to say, or they just ignore the red flags.
That's right. You ignore the red flags. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Terry also adds to that. She says when they ran away, they looked like they were floating across the grass, no sound in the wet grass.
Right. So it was almost as if they were not of this earth, right? They were almost like something spiritual or ethereal. And you do hear that a lot as well too, that they're not, of this earth, that they are taking on the form of a black dog, but that's not their physical form.
Yeah. So basically like a shapeshifter type.
A shapeshifter, or maybe, in Native American parlance, you would use like a trickster, something that is trying to fool you in some way.
Sure.
Yeah, I could almost see it as almost like a full-bodied apparition, because that doesn't mean you hear them, you see them.
That's right. Sure.
You may not hear them.
Yeah. And I think that's a good part to go with too. Is I think they do come from that ethereal realm. I think that they are, part of that milieu, if you will, that kind of phantasmagoria type of thing over there, where ghost lay claim to. But I think that, I'm definitely preaching to the choir. I think that that out of that realm, there's more than just disembodied spirit.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. So I'm going to switch. Let's talk about you for a few minutes, since you got to go here shortly. You've been doing some stuff with small town monsters.
I've been doing, a lot with small town monsters. Yeah. I did Sasquatch Unearthed, The Ridge, which was an 8-episode documentary about research on Bigfoot and the Chestnut Ridge. And if anybody out, it's free. You can find it on YouTube, but you can also, it's on Tubi as well too, and Amazon Prime. But if you watch episode 2 called Spectral Bigfoot, that is the episode in which we had the earthlights happen to us as well too. So you can actually watch the whole video of that. It was documented. One of the few times something like this is ever documented, but that's what really led me down that rabbit hole. And I've also been doing UFOs Revisited for them as well. I did American Werewolves with them. And then, of course, the Earthlights film that Tyler Hall just put together, UAPs of the Woods, which is a fantastic documentary.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, you got a lot going on, don't you? You're a busy guy.
I wish that I had the ability to kind of like throw myself completely into this world because it truly is a passion of mine. But maybe one day. But right now, I have to be a couple different things at the same time. But one of these days, God willing, I'll just be able to do this. So,
Well, Heather's coming. She's also a speaker at the conference. I didn't know.
Yes, I know that. I know that.
Yeah. So yeah, we're blessed to have you both.
I'm so looking forward to this.
Yeah. What else you got going on? You got any books in the works or?
Yeah, I will be coming out probably within the next month called, like I said, I've got 5 kids. I've got the Frugal Family Guide to Gettysburg coming out. So it's about ghost hunting with your family so you don't go bankrupt. So I'm trying to give you some pointers on how to do it and not spend too much money and what kind of gear
That's
that you need
awesome.
and you definitely don't need, yes. And if it goes well, if it starts selling well, I have series also on various other places like Colonial Williamsburg and Salem, Massachusetts, and other places around the country as well too. So if everything goes okay with this particular book, then I'll be releasing other family guides as well too.
That's really cool. Very cool. Yeah. We just you're a busy guy and man, I wish we could keep you longer. Can we
I know.
Can we schedule you to come back?
Yeah, that's what you say. Please, yeah.
Okay.
Keep me, schedule me again, next month or whatever, and I'll be able to afford you a little bit more time, God willing.
Awesome. I'm sure. I'm sure with BMR and Paranormal Paul and Tech, we're all going to be having all the speakers on throughout the upcoming year and stuff. So a couple times. So I'm sure you'll be back a couple more times before then. I hope.
I cannot wait. And if you get a chance, try to have me on with Heather sometime too. And we'll discuss some of our work over there with Small Time Monsters.
Yeah, we can absolutely do that. Yeah,
that would be
great.
That would be awesome. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, that
sounds
would
excellent.
Absolutely be fantastic. We appreciate you, Ron, and thank you for coming on.
Too. Like I said, I did not want to cancel this in any way. I knew I had some things going on, but I thought, at least I can give you my 45 minutes before I have to put on my dad role. So
I totally understand.
Yeah.
Man, we always say that. Always.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just kind of like tomorrow night's show. I won't be available. Chris is going to do it with Bigfoot Michigan Rob because I have a kid thing that I have to do. So
yeah.
All right, ladies. Well, I'll bid you adieu. Schedule me here out, in the next month or so, and we'll do this all over again.
Sounds good. Thank you, Ron.
Oh, yeah,
thank you.
absolutely. Thank you, Ron.
Yep. See ya.
Okay, so
he's a great guy.
I do. I really find him interesting. And like I said, I'm in awe. I just sit and listen to him. And then I it's like my mind goes blank. It's like, what kind of questions you got? I'm like, I haven't even processed what he said yet.
Right.
But Mr. Greg Ogle said he will come on with us if you'll send him the link.
I already did.
And we'll have 2 speakers on.
I already did. I sent him.
Oh, there you go.
I sent it to your messenger. If you want me to send it to your phone number, I can. But yeah, so I did.
Exactly. We'll get 2 speakers on in one night. How lucky are we?
Do what we got to do.
That's right. That's right. But it is interesting because you know that the hellhounds have been an interesting conversation for me because I'm not sure what to think of them. I'm not.
Yeah. How are you?
Hello.
Speaker number 2.
How are you?
Speaker number 2.
Howdy.
How are you?
Good. How are y'all?
Doing good. Ron had some family stuff he had to do tonight, so we had him for 45 minutes.
Uh-oh.
So we appreciate that. He's a great guy, man. Seriously, yeah. And he's going to be talking about the Fae at the conference.
Ooh, the Fae.
Yeah.
The Fae.
So fun. And you're going to be there.
I'm going to be where?
Where are you coming to in September?
Where?
The
museum.
Yeah. So coming back. You were there on one of the most active nights it's ever been.
I was, and when I put on the little God helmet thing, I was, that was a trip, especially like seeing the alien. I'm like, wow,
Can you like talk about that and kind of maybe get a little descriptive and kind of go over and let people know what you did?
I only really remember just a little bit about it. One of the things that I do remember, when you put the helmet on, you got all these little lights and stuff kind of blasting into your eyes. So eventually, everything just goes white. You see just a white, just nothing but white. Well, it's not really not white. It's more of a dingy white, gray, light gray kind of color. Anyway. And then right after that is when I started to see like the alien. It was like it was peering through something, you know. I couldn't see the entire face. It was kind of like this, like it was peering through some kind of veil or something, and I saw it more than once. Wow. And the other images I have forgotten to be.
But didn't you say though the alien? It was like you were in its realm. It wasn't in our realm, but you went to its realm.
Right. It's like I was there, and I wasn't supposed to be there. And,
right.
The feel that I got from it was like, hey, what are you doing here? Who are you?
Right. How'd you get here type thing.
Yeah. How did I get there kind of thing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? You're not supposed to be here sort of thing.
Sure.
And that's the feeling that I got from it.
Gotcha.
And, the other stuff I don't quite remember because I've done the God helmet thing before, and the same thing happened. Like you see all these images, and then it's like if you don't write them down like immediately, it's almost like a dream. If you don't write down everything immediately from a dream, you'll forget. Right.
Yeah,
and this is very, very, very similar to that. And the same thing happened with the Estes method when I did the Estes method. It's much like a dream. I just don't remember a whole lot from it.
Yeah.
I don't either. And that's for me. That's basically immediately right after I'm finished. I can remember some things, but not all of it.
Right. Yeah. People are wanting to know. It says, Kristen, Brandy, can y'all explain the God helmet for those who aren't familiar? Sure. So it's this, it looks like kind of like a football helmet on steroids, I guess you would say. And
Optimus Prime.
That's it. Optimus Prime. And it's got this light that flashes, and it's like a strobe light, basically. Like it keeps strobing in your eyes, and it's supposed to take you into like a meditative state. And
an altered state of mind.
An altered state of mind, correct. And you just go with the flow, what you see and what you hear, smell, whatever. And because your senses are very aware, very more so aware with the helmet on. Am I correct on that, Greg?
Yeah, you're correct. And I'll go out to say that, not every one of them has like lights flashing in your eyes. It's a frequency that's essentially
it's pumping EMFs in your head is what it's doing.
And what it's designed to do is it's actually designed to do the exact same thing that LSD does, just electronically and not chemically.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. It was it's quite an interesting piece of equipment for sure. And I know the one you wore was made by Katie Stafford, and it's Terry's, and I know it's the higher frequency one, so there's a lot of woo-woo going through you at that time.
There is.
Yeah, you shouldn't, and plus prolonged exposure is not a good thing.
I wouldn't recommend it.
No.
I wouldn't recommend it, putting it on like driving to work or anything. Absolutely not.
No.
Right.
Heck no.
If it's your form of entertainment or research or something, once or twice a year, that might be okay. But I wouldn't recommend doing it much more than that.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And it does come with its own dangers, of course, the
Mhm.
EMFs and all of that.
Mhm.
But also, if you're prone to epileptic seizures,
Yep.
this is
Oh
another
yeah,
thing.
it would send you into one. No, I promise you that.
Yeah, it'll send you into one in a hurry. So
Mhm.
even watching it could do that too, because
Mhm.
the lights on some of these particular helmets are very bright, and you can
Yeah.
see them, and it can do it. It
Mhm.
is what Krista had said, kind of like a strobe light, but it is done
Mhm.
to
It
a
is.
usually a particular beat.
Yeah.
Mhm. A frequency, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it really reminds me of like the when the Indians got in amongst the circle and they started beating their drums, they would
Mhm.
always reach 120 hertz. And that seems to be that magic frequency
Sure.
that puts you in that altered state.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I think that's that there was something a lot to some of these old rituals and
Mhm.
things that they would do to put the people in a altered state of mind so they could
Yeah.
experience the spirit world.
Sure.
Mhm.
You know
Mhm.
what I find interesting is that you saw the alien, but
Mhm.
others who have wore that helmet saw the alien, and you were not told of that before you put that
No,
on.
I
Is that correct?
didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I wasn't
I
told.
find that really, really cool in a weird way. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Because
Mhm.
there was no influence saying, hey, somebody that wore this before you saw it. But I mean that,
Mhm.
when you said that, I'm like, oh, I looked at Terry like, oh,
Mhm. And I also know somebody else who did the same thing not long ago, and without any kind of prompting or anything else like that, he said he had seen an alien, and it was a
Mhm.
gray.
Mhm.
So he said he had seen one too.
Yeah.
So that's other than me, that's two other ones that I know
Mhm.
of that
Yeah. Yeah.
has said they had seen the same things.
Hmm. Well, the last time that I saw it used was actually we were at the Haunted Emmaus Village, and our friend Dan Klein was wearing it, and he saw it was almost like a bright white light, almost like he said like a heavenly light,
Mhm.
which
Mhm.
it's pretty
Yeah.
amazing how like different people see different things.
Well, like I had said before, things go white.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
Hmm.
they
Well,
do. They things go white. So that's very similar to what I had seen too.
Hmm.
well, and I mean, twice that night. Dan wore it, and then his daughter wore it later. After Dan wore it, I had a body cam on, which is it's infrared, and
Mhm.
I once he got up and started moving around after he took the helmet off,
Mhm.
I had seen a a I don't want to call it an orb because I can't I don't know if it is or it isn't. I'm just going to say this, that it had its own light source and it was going from the floor to the ceiling. Now
Hmm.
it was 34 degrees outside.
Mhm.
There's no heat or air in these buildings, so
Mhm.
there's not the bugs aren't there. I
Right.
could not say,
Yeah.
hey, that's a
Yeah.
bug. There
Right.
was no way.
I seem to remember when I was wearing the God helmet too that Krista had said that there was a light flash in the
Hmm.
room with us.
There was. It was one of the pieces of equipment that was behind you had
Mhm.
flashed. Mhm.
Mhm.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
and then the second time when Dan's daughter had it
Yeah.
on, she was in a totally completely different room,
Mhm.
and next to that room it was a staircase that went up, and it was in the hallway, and then there's a staircase that goes up. Now I'm at that staircase and I'm hearing stuff down, so I walk down the hallway and I'm talking to
Mhm.
I'm talking to whatever's on the staircase. So I'm just having my own
Mhm.
conversation, and I can hear it rustling and you can catch like a little shadow movement or whatever. But next
Mhm.
thing you know, she's in this other room and she starts talking about somebody on the stairs. So this lady comes
Mhm.
over with her SLS camera, shines it right on the stairs, and
Mhm.
boop, there it shows right up on the
Figure right
SLS
there.
camera. And then it was
Really?
gone.
Wow.
And then it was gone. Yeah, because I was sitting
Wow.
there talking to whatever was there the whole
Yeah.
entire time on this staircase. And then she comes over and boop, it was there. And then, his daughter was talking about it when she's wearing the God's helmet. So
Yeah.
there was like three forms of validation right there that there was
Mhm.
something on that stair.
Yeah. And I believe, didn't we think it was the nurse that fell down the steps there?
Could have been. It could have been. Like I said, it was 3 different ways that we validated it. One with the SLS, one with the God's helmet, and then me hearing it and seeing the shadow.
Yeah.
It was just amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I gotta say, it was nuts for sure. I'll have to talk to you privately backstage, but we've been invited to go back there. I don't know if you heard about the howl that Terry actually captured. That it sounds like a Dogman. Let me see if I can play it real quick for you and others who have not heard it. Hold on, give me just a minute. Keep talking.
Yeah. As soon as Terry can get that file, me and Randy are going to break it down and see what we can get out of it.
Yeah, hold on.
I would suggest putting it through Audacity and then start looking at the frequency ranges on it, and then comparing them to animals.
Okay.
Yeah, I do that. I do it through Audacity and WavePad. So I put it through 2 different systems to find it, to see it. And then we start dissecting it, taking out the noises and then see what we end up with. And I'm excited about it. I'm just waiting on
I
that
got to
file.
figure out how to do that. I'm going to play it. It's 24 seconds long, and it's actually at the last 4 seconds. I can't fast forward it because I only have it through Messenger. So hold on, Greg. See what you think about it, okay?
Okay, I'm listening.
So we just go back here and let them do this. There's too many blips, blaps. Yeah. Go back here. Yeah. Let's go. Okay, we'll turn this stuff off. We're gonna have to work this. Just get it for just a few of us. Did you hear that? Yeah, like a screaming.
Do you hear it?
I did hear it. Unfortunately, it's not loud enough for me to make a determination on exactly what it could be. But I did hear it.
Yeah, I sent it to Joe Doyle, Helmet Hollards, to get their perspective of it, and he's like, "Whoa, it's something." He said, "Let me see." He said, "Not an owl, fox, or coyote. There's a big set of lungs to it. It gives the impression that it's a distance away, but with some power to it." So what I found really cool, though, is there is a road not far from here, because this location isn't far from my house, actually, that I called Dogman Road. And the reason I called that Dogman Road is there was a Dogman encounter on that road. It's a twisty, turny, hilly road. And I've called it Dogman Road ever since. And then, that night we're there and we're within 2 miles of Dogman Road.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know, just kind of makes you go,
The funny part was, Chris and I were talking on my way up there, and I had some highway, but most of my trip was these twisty, turny, 2-lane roads that you don't dare go off the side because you're going to roll down a hill. And I'm like, ooh, this is not good. I feel like something's going to jump out at me anytime. So I think I'm going to call that Dogman Run.
Dogman Run.
Never what's going to go on through there. You don't know.
Yeah.
There's another
very rural.
There's another special guest that wants to appear too.
Well,
hold on, I'll get him. Just hold on.
Okay.
He's like, hold on, I'm gonna get him. He always scares me when he does this. You never know what he's gonna do, because we do call him Dogman Eye Candy.
I forgot about that, don't we? Dogman Eye Candy. I forgot all about that. Yeah.
He's even got the T-shirt.
Yeah. Remember all those goofy selfies we took with him and Adam?
I think we need to post those at some point.
Yeah, I should go back and repost those. I really should. They're still on my phone.
Right. I think I think we put them on Facebook too at some point, but oh, there it is.
Dogman.
It is Dogman. There he is.
Dogman Eye Candy.
Dogman Eye Candy.
How are you, lovely ladies?
What big teeth you have.
The better to eat you with.
Oh, that's too funny. Too funny.
Yeah, you never know what Greg's going to come up with, and that's the fun about about us being all together at one time. You just never know.
You just never
what's
know.
gonna happen.
No. And you know what? Hey, Dogman Eye Candy, you know, Brandy and
That's
I were
right.
just talking. We're gonna repost all those selfies that we took with you and Adam.
As long as you don't repost the one that's like all get me fluffy looking. No.
No, that's the one that earned you the name.
Dogman will eat you.
Yeah, that's the one that got you the name.
Oh God.
Because I don't even know what happened. I mean, you just got all like real fluffy in the middle, and then me and Krista were fine on the sides. I don't know what
I
happened.
know, right? I just got all fluffy and smooth.
Yeah, and
That was
Krista and I just looked normal.
Right. I was like, what the hey?
Yeah, that was funny. That was really.
I had
that
like
was,
blush on and looked like I had
You
some
did.
eyeliner. Oh my
yeah.
Yeah, I
that
mean,
was funny.
it's like I don't know. I don't know what happened.
There were two of those kind of pictures with you because one was at Gatlinburg.
Yes.
So that one, and then the other one was at the Dogman conference in Texas.
In Texas, that's right.
Yeah. So, isn't that funny? So you got a question here, Greg, real quick. I want to ask you. Bristol says, Greg, heard Adam Davies speaking highly of the new doc. When is the official release date for us non-premiere peeps?
January 4th
Okay.
at 5 p.m.
At 5 p.m.
Yes.
After we get to see it.
After, yeah, the premiere people get to see it first.
Mhm.
And then after it's over, then it's scheduled to be released.
Where is it going to be released at? Can you?
I've got it'll be, you could go to www.relicfilmsmedia.com.
Mhm. Very cool.
Mhm.
Relic Films Media. And I'm going to drop the link in chat. Let me go to it.
Yeah,
So
it's still under construction. So if you go there right now, you won't be able to see anything. But
gotcha.
that is the website though that it will be at.
Okay. I see it here.
relicfilmsmedia.com.
Yep. I see it here. So
Mhm.
do you want me to share the link or no, or wait?
You can. It's fine. Like I said, it's still under construction.
Yeah.
But by next week, it'll be up and running, and
Okay.
you'll be able to go on and either rent or buy Booger. I call it Booger, the Legend of the Donny Booger, and it'll be for immediate either rental or download, and then you can get The Land Between the Lakes when it comes out, and also I'm going to be putting outtakes and footage that didn't make it into the films, and
Cool.
just all sorts of things that subscribers, if they want to come in and check out all the extra stuff.
Yeah, because people got to understand, like, I know when we were at the LBL with you, we were there for days, and then I know you went back. So, and you were there again for days. So, like, you have a lot of days worth of footage that it's not all going to fit into. I think you said it was an hour and 40 minutes.
It's an hour and 40 minutes.
So, I get like the extras and things like that because, there's just so much there.
There is a whole lot there. There's some fantastic UFO footage that just didn't make it in. And it's not. It was just, it didn't really go with the flow of the film.
Sure.
So I may save it for another film in the future, but I really don't do aliens, to be honest with you. But you'll be able to see just stuff that didn't make it in the film, and even like interviews that I did for Booger. There's several interviews in Booger that just didn't make it.
Sure.
There was one interview that I did with like Matthew Johnson, and it was like 3 hours long.
Wow.
And
Wow.
it made it into the first version of Booger, but we decided for continuity and the flow of things to actually take that interview out. And but I'll repost it so that patrons could see it.
Yeah. And so,
I just saw the other day that you've got the final documentary done. There should be No more inclusions or exclusions. You're completely
Right.
finished now. It's all
Yeah,
good.
it's done. The only thing that we might have to, that we are doing is we'll go back and watch it. I'll probably watch it 20 times before everybody else does.
Mhm.
But things that I'm looking for is tiny stuff, misspellings or uh, just tiny things like if a different transition needs to go in, or a piece of B-roll needs to go where somebody's talking.
Mhm.
Essentially, the film is done. It's only corrections that would be done, but the film is done. Yes, and there won't be any editing changes. It'll be
Right.
corrections. No more
Right.
editing.
Right.
Oh,
Well, good deal. Good deal. I look forward to it. It's definitely going to be a good one.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I really look forward to
I
it.
really, really like it.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
Um,
so
yeah.
tell us who's all going to be at this premiere you got going on.
Well, cast and crew. So, of course, I'll be there, and my family will be there. Brent Magoo will be there. He's the editor and
Mhm.
director of cinematography, and Janice Redden, or she used to be Redden. But Janice will be there. She's in
Mhm.
our group, and she'll have some more people with her family. Going into some of the cast, Trey Hudson will be there. And
Mhm.
Trey Hudson he'll have some books that will be
Cool.
for sale. Kristen Payton will be there.
Mhm.
Don Tart should be there. Um, and rest his soul, I really wish Bob Wilson could be there, but
Mhm.
he's
Right.
unfortunately passed away. Several of the ASAW group that were involved in the metal project,
Mhm.
several of them will be there.
Cool.
You girls were going to be there.
Mhm.
Of course.
Lovely, lovely. Can't wait to see
Mhm.
you guys again.
Same.
Wouldn't miss it.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Martin Groves will be there.
Awesome.
Unfortunately, Barton Nunley will not be there.
Mhm.
Um, and there's, if I'm forgetting any, of course, Adam Davies. Oh
I was
my
just
God,
going to ask you, is Adam going to
how
be
could I forget Adam? Oh
there?
my God, he has called me like, I don't know, 4 times a day. Like, oh my God, Greg, I can't get this film off of my mind. You know,
That's hilarious. That's too
bless,
funny.
yeah, bless his heart.
Yeah, I just watched his interview with Tony Merkel
Uh huh.
actually yesterday. I think it was
Oh
yesterday.
really?
I watched it. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, well, I filmed with Tony not long ago, a
Mhm.
couple of weeks ago.
Very
Tony's
cool.
okay guy. Yeah, I have some funny stories. I was kidding around with him like I do with
Oh
everybody
yeah.
else. There was one evening, he was a little chilly, and of course he in his little frail frame, you know. And of course, I was fine, had my big jacket and all bundled up and everything. And I had this little bitty teeny tiny emergency blanket, emergency thermal blanket. I pulled it out and said, "Here, Tony, here's your emergency blanket."
Right?
Oh, Lord have mercy. It was one of
Yeah.
those moments you had to be there. It was funny.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Right.
Yeah. We actually met Tony. He was at the Gatlinburg one, the same one we were at. Mhm.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
Yeah, he is a nice guy. That was
Yeah,
cool.
he's a nice guy. And I met his brother. I think I
Mhm.
met his brother. His whole film crew. And actually, I do really respect his film crew.
Mhm.
They are much like mine. They won't fake anything, and they go back and they double check things.
Mhm.
I can't wait for their film to come out, the Metal Project.
Mhm.
I can't
He
wait for
put
it to
out
come
some
out.
good videos himself.
He does. He does.
Mhm.
He does. He's got one out, Sasquatch and the Missing Man, which is
Mhm.
pretty good. And some other ones that I can't think of the titles of right now,
Mhm.
but they're also good.
Yeah.
So his films are they're definitely worth a look at. And his Confessionals podcast is very successful, so I
Mhm.
congratulate him on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. What
Mhm.
you got? What else you got coming up? I know
Okay.
you got other things in the works.
I do have things in the works. So, like I say, coming with my webpage, I'll have probably a monthly podcast. Um,
Ooh.
Mhm.
and when I go out on location, where I'm planning on live streaming from location, and there'll be live streams and interviews that will be hidden so that Patreons can see that kind of stuff.
Cool.
I'm really excited about that coming.
Hmm.
Um, eh, y- you know, um, this day and age of the internet and the average person just being able to bring the content like that was just only a few years ago. Only big
You
com-
turn that on.
companies could do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm really excited about this day and age and joining in on uh, the internet media.
Hmm.
I'm really uh, I'm not really changing the name of Relic Films, but I'm adding in Relic Films Media because
Gotcha.
on my webpage I want links to other related podcasts like your
Sure.
ladies
Mhm.
podcast,
Ah.
Texas Front Porch, and um, Miss Danielle Diva in her podcast, and if Donny Cho will
Mhm.
give permission to have links and stuff to his all of the affiliated podcasts. I
Yeah.
want them in one good spot so people can
Mhm.
go um, and see
You what?
other related content, and maybe even drive some business toward and some subscribers toward everybody else that I've been affiliated with.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's what it's about, kind of
Mhm.
promoting each other and
Right.
lifting up instead of putting down, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Excuse me. I don't look at anybody else as really like competition and
Yeah,
stuff.
we don't either.
I celebrate everybody. Like
Yeah.
Tony, I told Tony this. I said, technically we're competitors, but I don't look at it that way. If
Mm-mm.
you need help, I would gladly
Sure.
come in and do interviews in your films and celebrate your successes and
Yeah,
you
because
know.
we're all looking for the same answer.
Exactly.
Hmm. Yep, wholeheartedly.
So, mhm. It's
Well, if
like
I, if,
I
if
don't.
I ever find out a big secret, if I ever find an answer to something, Greg, I'll let you know.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. You're looking all kinds of radiant again today, both ladies.
I don't know. I am sitting here shivering, and I keep blacking out my screen because I keep having to cough and blow my nose. I'm like, it's
Mhm.
cold, it's cold, and I'm sitting
Mhm.
here and I'm just kind of rubbing my hands.
I
Yeah.
just looked at the temperature here and it's 16.
Ooh,
Mm,
it's cold
Mhm.
there.
Yeah, it
Or
is.
yeah,
it
it's
is where it's
cold.
warmer. Well, it's pretty cold here too. It's probably in the 20s here
Yeah,
outside. So,
the last time I looked before the show started, it was 25, but it felt like 17, and I was
mm,
like, oh, nice.
oh Lord.
Yeah, I'm not big on cold. I'm ready for spring again.
And I'm down here in the basement. It's a little cooler down here than it is upstairs.
Hmm. Yeah, I just told Brandy before the show started I'm going to get my electric blanket tonight because it's electric blanket weather.
Mm, mm. I've always had the fear that I'd be asleep and the thing would catch on fire.
Oh,
That's why you
great.
buy the ones with the automatic shut off.
Yeah.
That way
Now you're
it
putting
shuts off
things
when
in
you're
my head,
sleeping.
Greg. Thanks.
You're
It has
welcome.
the automatic shut off. That way, you're sleeping, it shuts off. You won't know until you wake up freezing.
That's right.
I
That's
think
right.
I'd feel a fire though.
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know.
I just
Maybe it's
always
the
had that
smoke
fear.
inhalation,
Hmm.
maybe the smoke.
Yeah, maybe so. Who knows?
Hmm. Yeah, like I said, I've always just had that fear.
Mhm.
I've got a little ceramic heater that in our bedroom that I crank up,
Hmm.
and keep the house a little bit cooler. It keeps the utility bills down. You know, if I'm only heating one room
Thank you, Amy.
instead of the whole house. Ooh, thank you, Amy.
Thank you, Amy.
Studio
Space
space heater fun.
I have
Thank
one.
you, Amy. Go hit the
somewhere.
like button.
Yeah. Thank you, Amy. Appreciate that.
I love that.
Mhm.
I do. I really need to get one and put it here because I'm telling you what, I'm just a shivering. I don't know what's up in here.
Mhm.
It's cold.
Yeah, and you know, we have some other films coming up too.
Mhm.
Yes.
I'm actually working on one right now that I'm 30% done with. It's untitled, but it centers around missing people around the Cades Cove area in Tennessee.
Nice.
In January, I'm going to be doing. It'll probably be end up being a smaller film, but I'm going out to Texas with Tex,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and there'll be several people of his group there, and we're going to film there.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
I heard there's some interesting things going on there.
Mhm.
In October, I'm returning to the land between the lakes.
Good. Good deal.
And then after that, I've got another film in the works that's in planning, going out to Oregon, where Adam and John, his mate, had a portal experience
Mhm.
where these two little creatures came out. And these
Oh.
creatures, this is a fascinating story if you've never heard it.
Mhm.
You know,
Wow.
and you know, these little creatures were like 3 foot tallish, but very, very stocky build, you know,
Wow.
and had like piercing red eyes. And the other guy, John, he was like, you know, trying to rebuke it or whatever. You know, I don't know what that does to a portal, but he walked down toward it and decided it wasn't a good idea to walk toward the little entities or whatever. So he started to walk back toward Adam, and when he started to walk back, these things started charging at him, just and they, you know, both turned on their flashlights. And when they turned on the flashlights, the portal and the entities would disappear.
Mhm.
Oh.
But after maybe 15 minutes or so, it would come back.
Wow.
And for 2 nights, that went on, 2 nights straight, all night.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
So we're going to go out and see if we can reproduce, see if that can be reproduced and captured on film.
That'd be awesome. Well, I hope you get it for sure.
I
You
hope so.
you have the knack, man. You can get some stuff.
Well, you know, I've got some tricks up my sleeve for which I think will work for that. Now it's probably going to be, you know, a year from now, at least a year and a half before I can start filming on that. But it's going to take some planning, and I think it will probably rival the LBL.
Wow.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I look forward to all your
Oh,
fun.
only because I know what happened. You know, I know what happened at the LBL. So I'm like, if it can rival that, wow. Just wow.
I think it'll rival the LBL.
Wow. Yeah.
But this one, I swear, it is chopped full of evidence. Just and like I said, there's evidence that we had to leave out. There's evidence with Kristen Payton. She had one on FLIR, and you can see it plain as day. It's there, but due to time and fitting the thing in, you know, where do you fit this segment in?
Sure.
It didn't make it. So, but there's just material for another film.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you got to think about it, though. I mean, if you catch one on FLIR and it's plain as day and you have to cut that, that tells you, wow, of all the stuff that's in there.
Absolutely.
We had to cut that.
Yeah, that's when it's crazy when you have to cut something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it starts up, you know, within the first 10 minutes or so. You're going to see eyes of a Bigfoot or something. You'll see its eyes. It's like looking up over a log, and and it stays there for quite a while. It's a long encounter actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and you get to see them like move away,
Wow.
So that's in there. You'll get to see one standing by a glow stick, where I go out and I take a glow stick and I put it up in a tree, and we just keep bebopping down the trail, and I have my full spectrum camera out. I'm just panning around at random, right?
Yeah.
So what we thought was a quiet night. I start going back and looking over the footage, and standing right beside the glow stick was this thing it's perfectly silhouetted with a moon behind it, and it's just standing there about 6-8 inches above where the glow stick was.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's just standing there. You're just
That's
looking at
awesome.
it, and when you go frame by frame, you can kind of see it doing this right here. Just kind
Wow.
of.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all of that is just in the very beginning. There's lots of stuff in it from the very beginning.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it all.
I know. I want. Yeah, but we're less than a month away.
You are. We are. We're less than a month.
Do you still have tickets available?
There's a few. There's a few left. Yeah.
Okay. So if you guys are in the area or even not in the area, I don't care. Drive to it. We are.
Yeah, it'll be a big party.
We are.
We always have a good time, don't we, Greg?
We are. We're going to always have a good time.
Yep.
Even afterwards, we're going to go to a haunted restaurant called the Stash House, and it's got many ghosts. Many. And there's been lots of activity there. There's there was a repair person that went in to fix their ice machine, and all of a sudden they got a call from the ice machine. They were out there in the parking lot. I said, "Can you please bring my tools out? I'm not going back in that place." So
wow.
So Brandy, bring some equipment. We can have dinner.
I was going to say I'm going to bring some equipment and throw it out on the table.
All right, we can eat dinner with a brim pot on the table. Why not? Right?
Absolutely. Why not?
So
I think it'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah. Oh, it'll be a lot of fun there. It'll be a lot of fun. And the owner of the place, he's a real interesting character. He insists on you calling him Cat Daddy.
Cat Daddy.
Cat Daddy.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a wonderful guy though.
That's awesome.
And he really fits the name Cat Daddy. When you see him, you'll see Cat Daddy. Okay. Yeah, that's a fitting name. But it's going to be like there'll be barbecue. It's going to be like buffet style. So there'll be barbecue and some other sides and like chicken fingers for kids and buns if you want to make a barbecue sandwich. And it all should be up under $20. Cool. If you order off of the like a buffet. Now
I got dogs barking. It's
okay.
all good.
So, and they do have a menu. If you don't want like any of that, you can order off the menu too. So,
Really cool.
And that'll be whatever menu price is.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
The only thing I was saying, because you guys are south of us. So I was like, man, it should be warm there. So it's probably not going to be warm in January. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, it could be 4 or it could be 50.
Okay.
Right.
You never know.
Right.
It's Alabama.
Yeah. I mean, I lived in Huntsville for quite some time, and it could be snowing or not.
Right.
I don't know.
You just never know.
Nice.
So just prepare accordingly. You look for the weather, and it could be snowing or it could be 50 degrees. Who knows?
Well, I'm hoping for that 50.
Oh,
Yeah,
me too. Me too.
For sure. Me too.
And
I want good traveling weather.
Yeah, the Stash House is a good place. Coleman, Alabama is a nice. It's very, very safe there. It's a nice town, so nobody has anything to fear about. Am I going to go and get robbed? No, none of that's going to happen. It's a good town.
Well, I do have to say this for Chris and I, is some of these places that we do investigate, that is a concern.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
is a concern. Because a lot of the properties have, historical value, but unfortunately they're located in places where
Yeah. Yeah.
So great.
Well, like I say, that,
Yeah.
and that's one of the reasons why I picked Coleman, because it's
Mhm.
very, very safe.
Yeah.
I had the option of going to either Birmingham or Huntsville, and I'm not going to take anybody to Birmingham. Oh my God! And Huntsville is Huntsville's just really too far away from me.
Mhm.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's an hour and something away from me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, no, I want to do it in Coleman.
Right. I hear you.
Mhm.
Well, good deal. Good deal. I look forward to it. And it's one of our mini trips. Well, I can't really say mini trips because really we don't have a lot planned next year. We got Alabama.
We got a lot.
Mhm.
We got a lot.
Well,
Yeah.
we got the King Brothers. And then we have Tennessee, that Bigfoot conference that Greg hooked us up with.
Yeah,
festival.
it's the Bigfoot Festival. It's the
Yes.
Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Festival in Townsend, Tennessee. It
Yes.
is large. There's 15,000 people go to this thing.
Wow.
So it's going to be a very, very big Bigfoot festival.
Mm-hmm.
I will be speaking there along with Adam Davies.
Yay.
And you'll also be able to see the film there on Friday night. So it'll be shown.
Mm-hmm.
So I encourage, if you have a podcast and you want to go, just let me know so I can let the coordinator know. And you get in for free. You get on Podcast Row and you podcast.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're going to be doing. I'll be talking to everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sure.
Just you talk about things that is going on there, and it's good exposure for everybody.
Yeah. Sounds
Exactly.
like a fun time. Then after that, what do we got? Then we got our conference.
Mhm.
We have nothing
And
until our
got that-
conference.
we
Yeah.
got that conference in September.
Yeah,
And I'll be speaking there.
you will. And
Yeah.
we have actually at that one we have you. We have Haunted Souls. They are actually bringing a haunted car.
Ooh.
That's going to be really cool. So they're
it
also
named Christine?
Haunted Garage, and they collect old haunted cars and redo them.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So they're bringing a haunted car. And then Ronald Murphy, who we had on right before you, Lady Ann Celine, she'll be there. Dr. Dean Bertram, William Lunsford, he's going to be there talking the Falk Monster. Heather Mosier from Small Town Monsters is going to be there.
Ooh, Heather.
Yeah. Josh Hurd, who owns Malvern Manor. That's another place we got to get you to, Greg. It's Malvern.
Yay. Yes.
Yeah, that's another place we're going to be at next year, everybody.
Yep.
So
Yep.
just let you know.
And then Christopher Jordan is our tech and featured podcaster that weekend. And then we have Tex is emceeing that conference.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody come out and have a good time. A special guest, we have 3 special guests as of right now, and the list is growing because I have reached out to a couple other people. Ken Gerhard is one of them.
Yeah, I love his hat.
Yep, yay. And then Dana Stricker is another one. She's a friend of ours that she's a psychic medium. And she's
Psychic medium and a UFO experiencer. So
Yeah.
Ooh, we can talk about that.
And then Paranormal Portals, Brent Thomas is also going to come. He is driving 20
yay. I talked with Brent the other day. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's driving 22 hours to get there.
22 hours.
I'd have to fly that one. That would be one I'd have to fly.
Yeah, he's
But,
coming from northern Idaho.
Oh, I'm going to fly too. So
You flying into Kansas City again,
Yeah,
or
I'll
are you going to fly into St. Louis?
I'll fly. I'll probably fly. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I liked the airport that I went to.
That's Kansas City.
Yeah, I liked that airport. It was easy to navigate.
Yeah,
I was going to say, Greg, it's just like, do we pick you up in St. Louis or do we pick you up somewhere else? We have to know.
Kansas City.
Yeah. And then let us know what day.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Mhm.
Yep.
I will.
So yeah, and then So then we got the ghost hunt that evening. We're doing a meet and greet on that Friday night. And so, yeah, it's going to be a fun time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got a busy year ahead of me this year. I'm speaking at another conference in Georgia in March.
Wow.
I've got the filming in March. So March is going to be a busy month for me.
Right.
May, I'm going to take a little bit of a break in April. Yeah, in May, I've got the conference and or the festival in Tennessee, and I'm really excited about that festival though.
Who all are the speakers? You and Adam, and who else?
There's going to be a lot.
Is there?
A lot? Yes.
Okay.
I don't know all. Everybody. It's going to be a lot.
Okay. Good deal.
I haven't. I don't know if Adam is the keynote or if he's MC. I think he's MC.
Cool.
So.
Yeah. Well, I do know that I'm getting up to Bray Road this year. I'm not skipping it. I'm going to get there.
I would love to be able to go to some of these Bigfoot get-togethers. Like I'm going to one Saturday where it's almost like a meet and greet, but it's almost like it's a potluck though. Everybody brings a dish.
Yes,
that's kind.
Have
That's
like
awesome.
a big dinner.
That'd be great.
Yeah, so I am doing
or the camping for the weekend just to hang out. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to camp. It's just it's kind of close to me, so
Cool.
it's going to be a day
Nice.
thing for me. But I'm really excited about that because I really love interacting with other people that's interested, and just the the fans and other researchers and other experiencers. I love that interaction. So it's going to be a fun time.
Right.
We
And I'm
do
making
too.
Gumbo,
There you go.
Christmas gumbo.
Christmas gumbo.
There you go.
Perfect. So, man, you are a busy guy.
I'll be very busy this year. I'll be very busy this year, and actually for the next 2 years coming up, because the film going out to Oregon is going to take a lot of planning, and I'm bringing on some new people. I'll be losing Brent after this film. And he's going to take a little break from it, which, it's a lot of work editing it by yourself. So
Sure.
I get that. So I'll be losing him. So I'll have to bring on some other people. And, it's going to be a lot of training and, catching up to do. It's going to be a learning curve for the new guys.
Well, I have a request for you.
Yes.
So I would like to see you go up to do some Alaskan stuff too.
Yes.
Just throwing that in there.
Alaska. I don't know.
You're going to have to win the lottery.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be an expensive trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. You're going to have to win the lottery. But hey.
That's going to be, but there's so many places around here.
It could happen.
You film great stuff, though. That's my point I'm making. Is that your films are great, and I don't know if you remind me of BMR in the way that, he has had every weird experience happen to him, and I feel like you're the same way. And it's like I don't know if it's you got a radar open or something, and they know this, so you're able to film this.
I
knew a guy he was a member of my old paranormal team, and he had a knack for taking paranormal pictures. He won many awards for it. And I feel like you're that way with the films.
Well, I will say this.
Bristol said Greg Ogles does Port
Lock. I saw that.
Well,
I love it.
I
okay,
could
go
see
ahead. I'm sorry.
I could see the opening scene for that.
Oh, that's too funny.
Yeah. So.
That's too funny. But yeah, so anyway, appreciate you coming on here, man.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thanks for coming on. Spur of the moment.
Yeah,
Yeah. If not, people are just going to get stuck with me and Brandy, and we can get
Well,
boring.
there's nothing wrong with that either.
So tomorrow night it's actually me and BMR, and
Yes.
we're gonna talk about like conspiracy theories and stuff.
I
Yeah.
love those.
Yeah.
Exactly. Things that make you go,
Yep.
Exactly.
I couldn't put conspiracy theories in the title because I figured they would pull it down. So yeah, so that's why it's called things that make you go,
Strange theories and other things.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. Well, we appreciate everybody tuning in. And then I think on Saturday's show, pretty sure Paranormal Paul has Heather Mosier, Small Town Monsters. And then Donny Cho will be on. And then you can catch BMR with Brandy and Monica. I have the night off that Saturday night. So, yeah.
Right.
So, and after tonight, here in 20 minutes, you can catch Monica, our Paranormal World. She'll be coming on.
Yeah, she's coming on pretty quick.
Yep. So, all right, guys, we appreciate each and every one of you. And I still don't have the ending, the closing music or whatever. So we're just going to end it.
All right. Bye, everybody.
See y'all.
Bye.